Hi there, welcome back to the Grow with Cara show. Today we continue our interview series with successful attorney marketers. We're taking a close look at what's working, what's not working so well, the specific steps these attorneys took to get to where they are. And remember, these are simple steps that you too can follow to get on a similar path to growth. Okay, let's dive right in. Today, our special guest is attorney Shaheen Wallace. Shaheen is the owner of the law office of Shaheen Wallace, a personal injury firm serving Georgia, New York, and Pennsylvania. We're excited to have him here today. Welcome, Shaheen. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, so to begin, Shaheen, tell us a little bit about your story, your journey. Why did you start the firm in, I believe it was 2015?
So I started the firm kind of out of necessity, right? I knew at some point that I wanted to have my name on a door somewhere. I just didn't imagine to be straight out of law school. So I graduated law school in 2014. And the big crash happened in '08. So from '08 to maybe like 2011, 2012, a lot of these big firms, a lot of these medium-sized firms weren't really hiring like they used to. So so around 2013, places started hiring again, but it was very, very slow, trickling if you remember. And when I graduated, I knew that I wanted to try cases. That's all I've ever wanted to do. But a lot of the personal injury firms, a lot of them were small shops, so they definitely weren't hiring. So I was like, you know what? Let me look at some of these mid-sized defense firms, even though I knew that's not that's not where my heart was at, but I knew that they were always trying cases. I was like, so let me see how that works. And now I was getting calls from the defense firms. People were putting out feelers for me, and they were reaching out to me. So I was like, oh, that's a good sign. That's a good sign. They're calling your boy. So I would go on these interviews, and I would crush these interviews. And I maybe went on like 4 or 5, and each one would tell me the same thing. They're like, look, you're amazing. We want to hire you, but we don't know if it's in the budget right now. And I'm like, it's April. I know that law firms either set their budgets in the beginning of the year or at the end of the year. So you knew well in advance before bringing me in whether or not I was in the budget. So I said, after the 5th interview like that, I said, you know what? And I tell people the story all the time. I said, if I'm going to starve to death, it's going to be because I couldn't generate work. It's not going to be because I couldn't fit into somebody else's budget. I said, all right, y'all. Went to the department, the Department of State. I said, you know what? Let me fill out my little LLC here. Let me get my little malpractice insurance. Let me get my little case management system and my little website set up. So it was out of necessity. That's what led me to opening my shop and hanging my own little shingle.
I love that. That's a great story. That's a great story. Necessity. Hey, that's a better reason than any, right? So how big is the firm now? Are you the only attorney at the firm? Do you have support staff?
So right now it's just me. I brought on an assistant last year, and she's been fantastic. I'm looking to grow the firm, over the coming year. We have a part-time paralegal right now, and then we're outsourcing a lot of the stuff that I don't like to do, or that other people are better at. So we're doing a lot with a little bit over here.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Smart. So what types of tasks and projects are you outsourcing?
Absolutely. So, medical record summaries, deposition summaries, demand letters, which we recently started doing. So a lot of, even some of the, administrative tasks we'll outsource. So
Right.
again, anything that, because I'm a trial lawyer. So what I do is I try cases. If I'm not either actively prepping for trial, or it's something that can help me prepare for trial, we're going to outsource it.
Smart, smart. Are you answering the phones? Who's handling intake?
So that's something we're actually working on right now. So my assistant will answer phones. Sometimes if it's a older client that had my cell phone number, I'll answer the phone. But we're working on, again, also outsourcing that as well, until we can, bring that whole thing in-house.
That's smart. Yeah. About how many open case files do you have now?
So most of my cases are in litigation. So right now about 42. Again, these are cases we're all looking to try. I really, I'm not a volume firm. I'm trying to keep, 50 to 100 cases, but most of them are cases that will hopefully, end up going to verdict if they don't resolve.
Yeah, yeah. And how did most of those clients come to you? How did they find you?
So most of them were either attorney referrals, client referrals, and like the random, I saw you on the internet, saw you a good review, so I called. But most of them, I would probably say a good like 85% are other attorney referrals.
How are you building your network of referral sources and referral partners?
So I'm big on personal connection. Um, you know, even before COVID, and quarantine and it forcing us to have to connect, via social media because we couldn't connect in person. My big thing was, you know, if anybody's done like the networking things with like, BNI, people work with people they know, like, and trust.
Mhm.
So I said, you know what? If I want people to send me cases that are good cases, I need to give people a reason to trust me and to know me and to like me. So I'm big on going out
Mm.
and meeting people where they're at. But even more than that, I'm big on providing people with value and with help before asking them for things.
Smart.
Right. If there are other lawyers that, need assistance, I'll ask, do you need help with something? Long before I'll say, I'm a personal injury attorney and I pay referral fees. Like, how can I be of assistance? If it's a doctor or a chiropractor or whoever, make yourself helpful or useful first. And then when it's time, you are the first person they think of. And it's worked well so far for me.
I love that approach. Provide value up front, just like you would build any other sort of friendship or relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think we overthink it. Um, what about kind of cultivating, staying in touch with these referral sources on an ongoing basis? You accept a case, do you keep, the referring attorney updated or the allied professional? What do you do
Mm-hmm.
from a customer service standpoint?
Absolutely. So what we do it a couple different ways. So one, through our case management system, we'll have generally like a 30-day update, or if it's a case that's in litigation, maybe like every 60 or 90 days, we'll just automatically update them. Like we'll calendar that in. I'm like, at the beginning of every case, I have a case flow, and a part of that case flow is update the referring attorney or update the client or update whoever sent us that case. Just like, hey, this is how it's going. Or not or, but in addition to, a lot of the cases that I get, again, are attorney referrals. So these are already friends of mine. So I will literally just pick up the phone and be like, hey, send out a quick text. Boom. And then be like, oh, okay. Thanks for letting us know. They're like, you don't need to tell us until the case is resolved anyway. I'm like, I want you to know, you're trusting me. So the least I could do is tell you, oh, we sent out the demand, or we got this offer on the case, or the client feels X, Y, and Z about the number, and then like I just sent out a referral check yesterday, and I'll take a picture of the tracking number and be like, hey, just so you can track it so you know it's on the way.
I mean, those little steps can really go a long way. Yeah.
Little things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What percentage referral fee are you typically asking for?
So the referral fee I usually pay is whatever I'm getting on the case. So, if it's a third. If it goes up to 40, I'll do the 40. So whatever I'm getting, you getting.
Nice, nice. Let's talk a little bit about social media. You're active on social. You're at Shaheen ESQ on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
What is your approach to social media? Is social media a lead driver for the firm?
It depends on what kind of leads you're talking about, right? So right now, my Instagram isn't designed to attract clients per se, right? So, I've been on Instagram since I think 2013, 2014, but like my law firm's Instagram has been there since I opened my firm, so 2015. And if you go all the way back to the beginning, you can kind of see how my content has changed over the years. But the way I use my Instagram is a couple different ways. One, to educate clients or potential clients, right, who might just stumble across it. Another one is to just have fun and entertain, right? Just as an outlet, because what I do for a living, or all personal injury attorneys do for a living, it's not fun, right? In terms of like, we're helping people literally at the worst moment of their life. So sometimes I'll use it as just a moment of levity, right? How do we not walk away with somebody else's trauma all day long? How can we just laugh a little bit, right? Another way I use my social media is to let people in on my personal life, right? Anybody in our age range, we grew up in other people's living rooms. MTV Road Rules, and, Real World, the Kardashians. Yeah, we grew up seeing what other people do, and nobody quite knows what a lawyer does if they're not a lawyer.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
They sit in their ivory towers and send us, bills. Like, so what does a lawyer actually do?
Yeah.
So I'll show people when I'm, hitting the gym or visiting family or cooking or whatever hobbies I'm doing, playing tennis, whatever, because I want, and I'm also really transparent. So if I'm having a great day, I'll tell you. If I'm having a terrible day, you'll know. And I have clients that'll follow me. I have defense attorneys that'll follow me because I want them to know, one, I'm a real person. Okay. So that means don't call me at 3 a.m. because I'm going to be asleep. Or if I'm with my family, I'm with my family. But when I'm working, you can also see that I'm working. When I'm prepping for trial, you can see when I'm prepping for trial. And it lets people, again, know, like, and trust you, right? Because you're not some mysterious figure that they only see on a billboard. If I tag a location, they can go, oh, Shah's at LA Fitness right now working out. So if we want to see him, that's where he's at. So I use it as a means to attract clients, educate potential clients, show other lawyers who I am, show potential clients who I am, so people can see that you are really a three-dimensional being and not just, some name with a catchy phone number.
Yeah, you're giving prospective clients a look into what it would be like interacting with you and, kind of your approach, not only who you are as an attorney, but who you are as a person and building that trust before they ever even reach out, right?
Absolutely. It's really, and I tell people all the time, it's really important for me to be authentic on social media, because I tell people, I'm like, if you've ever met me on social media, you've met me in real life, because I'm the exact same person. And I said, I never want somebody to look at my social media and then meet me in real life and go, oh, I'd rather just the guy on social media because this person isn't the same guy.
Yeah.
I'm the exact same person.
Yeah, and I think that can be a challenge for some attorneys is finding that voice and finding that confidence and level of comfort so that you
Yeah.
are able to really distinguish yourself and really able to show who you are online. I think that can take some practice. Was that a journey for you, or were you comfortable kind of doing that and sharing that from the beginning?
Honestly, I think I was pretty comfortable from the beginning, only because this is my personality,
Yeah.
right? And the way I saw it was the same way I approach social media is the same way I approach trying cases or just even presenting myself in court. It's really important for me to not put on an affect. You go in there, you feel like you have to talk like a lawyer, you feel like you have to, therefore and whereto, right? So it's the same thought process for me, because the way I see it is, when I'm in court and I'm in front of a jury, I have to convince 12 strangers that I don't know to do something. I said, if I have to pretend to be somebody else, now I have to convince 13. All right. That's just one more person I got to convince.
Good
So
point.
I said, you know what, Shah, just be yourself. Just talk the same way you always talk. And when you're presenting yourself on social media, don't necessarily think about talking to thousands of potential people. You're talking
Yeah.
to yourself. You
Right.
just talk to yourself the same way you talk to your reflection.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's what we get.
I like that perspective. Tell us about your start on social media. Which platform did you use first? Did you start with Instagram or?
Yes. Yes. So I started with Instagram. I'm just starting to dabble in the TikTok. I know I'm probably late on that, but I started with Instagram back in 2015 for the law firm. But again, I was on Instagram before that, just, because everybody was kind of on it. And I slowly began to build the brand out from there.
What topics did you start with? Are they different than what you're discussing now, or has it been pretty consistent?
So in the beginning, I started with like the tips, right? Kind of like everybody else. Here's a tip about what to do after a car accident. And then after that, it was if I can kind of see my timeline in my mind, it was tips. Then after that, it was more photo based because that's what the algorithm liked at the time.
Right.
And then it's kind of gone into like the reels. And in the reels, I'll do multiple things. I'll do educational stuff. I'll do the humor. I'll do the educational humor. And every once in a while, again, I'll throw a photo in there just to see what the algorithm likes. But what I've found myself using a lot are the Instagram stories. I really like using the stories because one, I'm a storyteller by trade, right? And using the stories allows us to obviously post more than once a day and not be annoying. Um, and tell a story throughout the day, right? Are you negotiating settlements? Are you at a mediation? Can people follow along with you? Again, are you just doing stuff throughout the day that people might be interested in? Or do you have some anecdote you want to share that you think people might, be into? So that's how I'm using it right now.
Where do you find that inspiration for new video topics?
I spend entirely too much time on the internet. I spent entire my boy actually hit me up this morning. He was like, "Yeah, I saw a post yesterday and I was cracking up. Where did you find it?" I said, "I just spend way too much time scrolling on the internet." And the way I do it is I don't have an idea and then try to find something that like a video or a sound that fits it. I'll just scroll and I might see a video and then that'll inspire whatever it is that I'm thinking. So I usually work the other way around.
What topics seem to be performing best for you at this point?
So I don't know if it's topics that are particular topics that are performing best. It's particular types of posts. So right now the reels still perform the best. I was doing a lot better during the summer before they changed the algorithm, and now we're kind of starting from the ground up again. And again, story posts. But in the stories, it's usually things that ask for a response from the viewer. Are they questions? Are they, quizzes? Or if it's just something that you think will evoke a response and not just a post, you know what I mean? Like something that gets people to interact with it, usually perform the best.
Can you think of an example of a question or more of those interactive posts?
Um, the questions are hard because those are usually, whatever pops into my head, I'll usually post it as a question. Um, and sometimes they're not even law related.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes they have nothing to do with the practice of law. It's just to engage with your community.
Yeah.
Like the other day I posted it was a post from some Instagram page, and it was Jennifer Lopez says that at her next Grammys performance, she's gonna sing Whitney Houston songs because they fit her vocal range. And that's absolutely bananas. That's just plain bananas. So I posted it, and the question was, she ain't serious, is she? And the amount of responses I got
That's
just
good.
to that story post, and it has nothing to do with the practice of law.
That's good.
And why is that so important? Because you might not have a huge following, right? I don't have hundreds of thousands of followers. I have like, 3,500 followers or whatever it is. But it might not be a huge following. But when you make posts like that and then you respond, you build a tight community, because you can have 100,000 followers and only 10% are actually responding to you.
Right.
Whereas you can have 3,500 and 40% of the people are always responding to your posts or to your stories because you're constantly engaging with them. So that's how I use that as well. Not just to, continually educate, but to really communicate and involve my little community that what I'm building.
Smart, smart. Are you shooting videos in batches? How often are you shooting typically?
So it depends, right? If I have the time, I'll do batches. So that's what I was doing during the summer. I had a bunch of ideas, I already had the sounds lined up. And then in one day I banged out like 20. And then next week I would, do another 20. So I'd be good for like a month and a half. Lately, I haven't been doing batches as much. I should probably get back to it because it's effective in terms of like time management. You don't have to think about it for 2-3 weeks
Right.
at a time. You already got them set up and you just know when you want to roll them out. So I haven't been batching lately, but it is helpful when you do.
Are you editing, adding captions, posting? Are you doing all of that yourself?
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I can outsource that to somebody else, I absolutely will. But right now I'm the head cook and bottle washer.
I like it. What about any ongoing tracking of your best performing videos? Do you do any of that ongoing?
So I try to use like the insights from like the reels you post, so you can see when people are most active, and then you kind of begin to kind of get an idea of what people like. But I'm weird though. Like I try my best to post things that I think my audience will like, but at the same time, I try to not get so fixated on making posts that I think they'll like, because it also hampers your creativity. Because now you're not worried about the content, you're worried about their reactions. right? So I'm like, you know what, Shah, post something for you. I'm like, if it makes you laugh, it's gonna make somebody else laugh.
Good
If it
point.
makes you think, it's gonna make somebody else think. So post what you think you want to watch, and there will always be an audience there to want to watch it.
That's good advice. And don't overthink it, right? Just post. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Uh, are you putting any money into boosting posts or social ads at all?
we're gonna be doing that next year. I did that a little bit before COVID. Um, and we didn't get as deep as we wanted to, because we wanted to do split testing to test different ads, but that was more like via like the Facebook advertising, because if you have a business profile, you kind of have to do it through Facebook on Instagram. And then COVID hit, and then everything kind of came to a halt. But hopefully we're not hopefully, but we will be starting that again in January, doing boosts and split tests to see, what kind of advertising works. And if Instagram is a good place to even be advertising for personal injury.
Yeah. Do you have any sense of what you will be promoting through these ads? Are you talking about simply boosting organic posts, or are you talking about even offering like a free consultation, more of a direct pitch?
Everything. So, right now, right behind my screen on my dry erase board, we have, we're gonna be shooting new actual just ads, right? Then we're gonna be shooting content strictly for Instagram that will be boosting, educational posts that will be boosting. Questions that people need answered, which they'll find on your page, but which they might be better served literally sending it directly to them. So there's a couple things we have in the works, and we'll see how it goes come January.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Let's talk briefly about intake from social media. I know you're not necessarily getting, a lot of DMs or direct calls through kind of leads generated on social media, but are you handling the engagement? How much time are you spending sort of, responding to DMs or commenters, or, aside from the production of the video and the posting?
I spend a lot of time on social media. Matter of fact, let's see if we can see how many hours I spent on social media.
Your screen time
Uh,
stats?
yeah, let's see. Because it'll usually be like 15 hours a day. I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, it's yeah,
How is
it's
that
it's a it's a
possible?
lot. It's again, this phone is always in my hand. Um, Talking to you is the longest I haven't had my phone in my hand. Yeah, I spend way too much time on here. But in terms of like intake, every once in a while you will get a potential client through social media. And when I do that, I immediately send them to my assistant, say, hey, we need to get this person to the case management system, because I'm not trying to discuss a potential case in a DM, right? I don't know
Yeah.
who's watching. I don't know where it's going. I don't know what kind of confidentiality issues we might waive if we're talking about it in the DM. So they might say, hey, I've got such and such issue. Okay, cool. Call me. We'll talk, send them over to my assistant, get him in the system right away.
Got it. Got it. And you mentioned connecting with other referring attorneys on social media as well. Is that something, when you receive, inquiries that are outside your geographic area, are you referring those out? Are you receiving referrals through social?
So every once in a while, I'll get a referral for something that's out of my practice area, outside of my state, and I'll refer that out. But I'm generally getting referrals from other attorneys specifically looking for me, right?
Nice.
So like I just resolved one the other day for like 200K, and
Nice.
the referring attorney was in Mississippi,
Nice.
right?
And that was
We're
through a connection through social, or?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
nice.
we'd been Instagram colleagues since 2019, had never met in real life until last year. When we just so happened to both be in Atlanta, and now we're doing business together. And then I got a referral from out in California, same deal. Been friends for a while, never met in person until we were at Mardi Gras,
Oh,
out in
nice.
California.
Yeah, nice,
Um,
nice, nice. How was Mardi Gras?
it was fantastic. I was a speaker there. It was
Oh,
fantastic.
oh, excellent, excellent. Do you attend events often? Is that part of your approach?
So as of late, yes. So like, obviously with quarantine, we weren't able to do that. But this year, that was a big thing for me. You had Bob Simon on the other day. And he's the one who invited me out to the Bourbon of Proof tour that was in March, and then invited me to speak at Mardi Gras, which I believe was in July. I believe it was in July. And then there was the CRISP Summit in Atlanta, which I was also at, made a bunch of connections and actually had some calls with some folks from there yesterday. So I made a concerted effort this year to just be out more, because you go to these events and, some of these events are trying to sell you things. But the most important thing is when you're sitting at table with people, say hello, give them your phone number, put their number in your phone, and just be a genuine person and just connect. And it just snowballed. So I said, I'm definitely making sure I'm traveling a whole lot next year as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So outside of a lot of the sort of organic social that you're doing, do you plan on investing in Google Ads in the future, or driving more traffic to your website through SEO, or are you kind of staying in that organic lane?
I kind of like the organic lane, only because it's predictable, right? You know that if you know this person and you strike up a relationship with this person, it's going to come, right? And it's, frankly speaking, more cost effective, right? And until I grow to a firm as big as Bob Simons or Raj Hamapour's or whoever, for me right now it just doesn't make sense investing that much money in an SEO or these other channels just yet.
Right, and what you're doing is low cost, if no cost, right? I mean, that you
Low to
can't
no
argue with
cost
that.
is mwah.
Yeah, you can't argue with that. You mentioned past clients sending you referrals regularly. Doing anything to keep in touch with those past clients? Do you have a newsletters or anything that keeps you top of mind?
Honestly, sometimes they just want a phone call. So sometimes you just give them a phone call. Sometimes I'll go over there and grab dinner with them, or Thanksgiving, go sit with them. Sometimes, a lot of my clients, not a lot, but a good number of them are older, right? 50 and up, 60 and up. And sometimes just swinging by and sitting on the porch with them
Huh.
just for a few minutes. And then I got a phone call yesterday from a past client. Says, hey, here's somebody that got hit by a bus.
Wow.
And it's just because every now and then I'll just give her a quick call. Hey, how you doing? How the baby's doing? How's the family doing?
Yep. Yep.
And sometimes that can do wonders.
Yeah, you're the master networker. I love it. So, Shaheen, before we wrap up, I always like to ask if a lawyer watching only has time to adopt one, maybe two of your tips, what would you recommend?
Get rid of your business cards and get people's phone numbers. Right. So wherever I go, people give me their business cards and I go, that's nice. And then I just hand them my phone. I said, can you put your number in my phone and I'll text you right now? Because without fail, within 15 minutes, I'll lose your business card.
Yeah.
Not that I don't want to hold on to it. I'm gonna drop it. I just know myself. And when you get them to put that number in and you send them a text message and they respond right away and go, oh, it was good hitting you up. And for me, it just works so much better than business cards.
I love that. And you're sort of fast tracking that connection, that relationship, right? You're not just throwing their card in a stack that, like you said, who knows what will ever happen from that. Let's get this connection going. Let's help each other out. How can we provide value? I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So, Shaheen, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. It was really great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, everyone be sure to join us for the next episode of a Grow with Kara show happening very soon. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.